Good morning, grandkids. I think I will try Dagon again, and it's been quite a while. And you let me know what you think about it. This is a Lovecraftian game. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here. Good, I just want to play a game. And movement is limited to progressing through locations along the plot. Okay, let's go see what all they're talking about and see if this is like it was before when I played it.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
Whoa. I can't move my pointer down here to those arrows that's blinking. Why not? I have no cursor. I can't click on anything. He's got a lot of junk laying around, hasn't he? And he's in a mighty tiny space. Alright, how do I... Okay. During the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Others reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the elder sign. Okay. That's an elder sign. Alright, let's click on
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Uh-oh. Well, now see, I'm just like I was before. I don't have that thing that showed me where to click. I've got these arrows down where it said the squalid street below, and I can't put my cursor on them and click on them. Let's click and see what happens.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate.
Morphine he's on. Well, I do sort of think that. Can't I pick up any of this stuff? I can't read any of these. He sure is in a tiny little space. Isn't there anything here he wants me to pick up?
When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Ooh. So I want to pick up them pages and read them, but I can't. Aha. Well, that's the ink bottle. What do I care about that? What's that? Oh my God. Morphine. Entered into use in the 19th. I don't care. You can read the discovered trivia immediately or go back to them later in the main menu. Well, it does distract me from the story. Well, now if it's that useless, I don't want it to be bothering me. Now, here. That looks like the ink bottle.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific, that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
He was supercargo. What is that? It fell victim to the German sea raider. I think he escapes.
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
Isn't that cool way out there? Dim, setting sun, I guess. Oh, that's cool. All right.
So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Well, that was nice that they was treated with fairness. So he's going to be a prisoner. I think he's going to escape.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
Very helpful. Can I jump in? No. Oh, we have to put them all in. I thought he said they was already in.
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
So he's out on the vast ocean, supplies. There's another cool shot. I'm not taking any pictures of this, so maybe I should. I wish I had that first one. All right. Let's see what else he has to say.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Yeah, it is pretty empty out there.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
That's cool the way they made that sun look on that waving, tossing water. It's got to drink something.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue. The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know. For my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Whoa! That's not what the ocean looked like. Holy cats, look at that. Look at that. Ooh. Alright, let's click on it.
When at last I awoke, It was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see.
Gross. I gotta take that picture.
And in which my boat lay grounded some distance away.
Yeah, I see that. And then tentacles are working over it.
Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
Well, sure, I would be too.
For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core.
Those tentacles right there would chill me to the very core.
The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain. Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
It would me too.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
I don't think the scene exactly depicts what he said. I don't see the sun blazing down. I see it blazing down from a sky which is almost black, but let's see what's going on with my boat. Or his boat.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
What's that?
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
Now see, that sounds kind of silly because you know that if something like that happened, as soon as it started, it would have woke you up before all of this stuff was left there. So that's dumb.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
The ocean is far away.
Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things. For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
Look at that mountain back there. What's it doing? It's breathing. What's them lights?
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
That would take forever to dry up.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Alright, I want to know where that undulating hill went to. It's probably behind, way back there behind there.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
Doesn't look like it to me. Look at that nasty wet stuff. I think you're hallucinating, man.
The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
That mountain he saw undulating out there with them bright lights on it isn't even there anymore. Well, I don't want it to go black.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
I guess that one's it. But it's not doing what it was before. Look at these skeletons. I can't walk over there to them. I want to see them closer. Oh. I want to see this thing and I want to see that thing. Then it goes black. It doesn't let me see anything cool. There's a whale. What is this? There's rock. There's some tentacles sticking out from under them rocks. I wish I could walk up to any of these things and examine them. Now, to move a little farther, it's going to go black and I won't get to see anything. I'm upset, you can tell.
That night, I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
I don't know how he camped in this mess. God, isn't that gross? I want to see what all I'm passing while it's dark.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance. An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night.
I'd know. You've been through a horribly mild weirdness. I'd dream weird too.
But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
We'll take that picture. It looks like the screenshots when it shows it down there in the corner of my view eliminates these words. I'm glad of that.
Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again.
Me too. I wouldn't want to either. Stay awake.
And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
That's true, but everything would have looked much more eerie in the dark.
Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset.
Okay, you do your thing.
Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
Now it's going to go black. We won't get to see anything until he's at the top, I suppose. That's boring.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon. whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world,
Well, I want to see down in that abyss.
peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
Can I walk closer? No.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost, and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness.
Ew. Oh, it looks like a light is shining under there. See underneath these rocks? The sun hasn't come. There's something down there.
As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Well, let us see. I still can't walk up there.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly
There we
easy
go.
footholds for a descent.
Yeah, but you're not going to let us see you go down.
Whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Oh, it doesn't look like it would.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath.
I don't see any gentler slope beneath. I just see gray silhouette.
Gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me.
And what's between you and it?
An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
How do you get there? Oh, it showed a start to walk.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
That looks like a lot of valley to go across to get there.
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature.
Well, of course not. You can tell that's not a work of nature.
A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express. For despite its enormous magnitude, and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith,
No kidding.
whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
See that little tiny light way over there toward that mountain? See, I always wonder what things like that are. I can see this rock over here. Here we go. Sounds sticky. Oh,
The moon,
there's
now
water.
near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm.
Have we got to swim across that to get to it?
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions, and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope.
No, it isn't. You're not down close enough for it to be almost lapping your feet. Across
the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures. The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me, and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books.
Even if he had gotten across the water to the bottom of it, I don't know how he could see it that plainly.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
I'm interested in what's in the middle of it, in that square, or rectangle.
Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world.
I see an octopus in the middle of that square picture.
But whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain.
But I'll bet it's not called an octopus. It's something weird.
It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound. Plainly visible across the intervening water on account of their enormous size were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men. Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto.
Early mermaids.
Or paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well.
Maybe it's this shrine, and they used to come up out of this water and pay homage to it.
Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
Hey, I know Poe, but I don't know Bulwer. I'll have to look that up. Ooh, look at these ugly faces. I want to see up there again. I didn't get to click on that one thing.
They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips.
I don't see any shockingly wide and flabby lips.
Glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background.
You'll have to forgive my phone. It's going to go off again, too. All right.
For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself. I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
That's eras, I think.
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist. Yeah. I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
What? Ooh, it's making waves right
With
there.
only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Come on.
Vast, Polyphemus-like and loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith.
Where's its head?
about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, the while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
Ooh. Why is that moving like that? You would think it was underwater. We was looking at it standing solid before.
I think I went mad then.
I think I would have too.
Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little. I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
I think there's that whale over there. I think if I went mad, I don't know if I'd be singing.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
And that's not peals of thunder, it's peals of thunder. Now what?
When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital.
How did you get there? And are you up in the air?
Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean.
Oh, okay.
In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
Can I move? No. All right.
Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing.
No, I'll bet.
Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
Oh. I'm laying in the bed, but it doesn't look like it. Where's my body? That's dumb. Can I get up? No. The door squeaks.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist.
It didn't even show me get out of bed.
And amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Did he write all this stuff on these papers as you talked, or what? Oh, there's another insignificant thing. Am I sitting in this chair? Yes, I was.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
That's wise. What's the name of that? Necronomicon. Necronomicon. Alright, what's next? Can I walk over there? No, of course not. They don't like to make very much of the movie. That's why they black all of your movement out so they don't have to do it. That's not too fair. Alright, I came over here. What do you want me to see? I don't know why you had me walk over there.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
What? I see a lot of stuff, but what do you see? There's an injection tube.
I tried morphine.
That's the tube.
But the drug has given only transient surcease, and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Oh. He's gonna end it all.
Often, I asked myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm.
It's because he's too drugged on morphine.
A mere freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man of war. This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed.
Yeah, I'd be thinking of that too.
Worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind.
But he's not dying out there in that boat. He's in that hospital place.
Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Well, it didn't yet.
The end is near.
Holy cow.
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
You can't tell that. It just sounds like somebody pounding on it. He moved that chest against it so it can't open it.
It shall not find me.
If it's strong enough, it will. See? I told you.
God, that hand! The window! The window!
I need some more morphine. Oh. What is this? Look at all this. What is it doing? He jumped out and died. That would have been cool to show him falling all the way down there. Holy cow. Alright, that's the end of that, guys. Goodbye, and I will see you later. I hope you liked that. Bye-bye.